Here is a voice agent that can check my emails, look at my calendar, and set tasks for me.
Good afternoon. I'm Dalia, your personal assistant. I can help you manage your calendar, check your emails.
Hey Talia, can you tell me what time is the interview on August 7th?
Let me check that for you. You have an interview scheduled on August 7th, 2025 from 6:18 a.m. to 6:48 a.m. If you need any further details or assistance,
Who is supposed to be on the interview?
the interview attendees are Bob Smith, Carol Williams, and David Brown. If you need anything else related to the interview or your
I want you to send a request to reschedule the interview.
Could you please provide me with the new date and time you'd like to propose for the interview? Additionally, would you like me to include any specific message or reason for the rescheduling?
So I have a conflict, and let's do the interview on August 22nd at 3 p.m.
I will send a request to reschedule the interview to August 22nd at 3 p.m. Here's a suggested message for the rescheduling. Dear Bob, Carol, and David, I hope this message finds you well. Due to a scheduling conflict, I would like to propose rescheduling our interview to August 22nd at 3 p.m. Please let me know.
Looks good. Just send it. So this was pretty natural conversation. I was able to interrupt the agent, and it was able to take actions on my behalf. And you can set similar agents for other applications such as customer support, office assistant, drive-through. I'll show you how to do that in this video. This was powered by Deepgram's Voice Agent API, which is a unified conversational AI API. This means that they were able to put together the transcription, LLM generation, and speech generation behind a single API service. For LLMs, you have quite a number of different options. You can bring in your custom LLMs. It's very different than some other offerings like OpenAI's Advanced Voice Mode, which has strong vendor lock-ins. And you don't need to worry about any of the stitching because this single system can orchestrate all the three different components. But for me, the most interesting part is the automatic speech recognition. You don't have to implement another voice activity detection layer. And that's why I was able to interrupt the model through the API, which is pretty neat. They are also the kind sponsors of today's video, but I think their API is pretty reasonably priced, but you can get started for free. In fact, you get $200 of credit when you sign up. In the rest of the video, we're going to talk about how to set up the system and what are the different components, but you can start playing on the playground. The voice agent is available here. They have two different models, which is included in the pricing, I think. So one is the GPT-4o Mini and Claude 3 Haiku, but you can bring your own custom models. I think they support almost every model as long as they're following the API specifications of these three providers. And that also reduces the pricing of the API if you're bringing in your own model. In this example, we're going to select GPT-4o Mini. This is the one that I was using. Now you have a number of different voices that are available for the speech generation part, but I think the real power is the model's ability to use external tools or do function calling. I'll show you how to set that up in code later in the video. In here, in their example, they have two different functions. One is doing calculations and the other one is ending conversations. Let's enable this. And they have quite a number of different examples. For example, there's a general agent, healthcare agent, customer support, sales, and financial services. Let's pick one and we can start interacting with this agent.
Hi, you're speaking with our customer support agent.
Hey,
can help.
What is your policy regarding damaged phones?
If your phone is damaged, it may be covered under warranty for manufacturing defects or under a protection plan if you have.
Very similar to what I showed you. Now, if you want to set up your own agent, here are the different configurations that you will need to set. These are related to voice input and output. The main one is your speaker agent. This is the speech generation model from Audiogram. You have a number of different options that we saw, As I said, it supports a number of different models. By default, we are going to use GPT-4 or Mini. You need to set up the thinking model and then a system prompt along with the tool description and what are the input and outputs. If you have a list of different tools available, the LLM will decide which tool to use based on the user input and the tool description. Here's usually the workflow. The LLM looks at the user input, then based on the available tools, it will pick a tool and then make a call. Here's the internal mechanism of function calling or tool calling. We get the user query, the LLM decides whether to use a tool or not. If it decides to use a tool from the available tools, it will make a call to that tool and it will generate the inputs for that function call or tool call. The system or the environment will execute that tool, return the results. Those results are passed on to the LLM and the LLM is going to generate the response. Under the same system, we're going to transcribe user speech, pass that to the LLM. The LLM is going to have access to a number of different tools. It will make call to those tools, get the results, generate that text, and then that text is converted back into speech, and we send that speech to the client side. The code example I'm about to show you is based on this Deepgram repo, but I cleaned it up for my specific functionality. First, we're going to look at a high-level overview, and then I'll show you how to set this up. Link to this repo is going to be in the video description. The main orchestrator is this client.py file, which implements a Flask API that works as a bridge between the front end and back end. The main agent configurations are within this agent template file. This is the API endpoint for the agent itself. Then we have audio settings, which are basically the settings for the microphone. This is the speech to text model. After that, we have the think model, which is the LLM. Right now we're using GPT-4 or Mini, and then we also provide the list of functions or tools. Next, we have our speech generation model. Now, by default, it sets to Thalia, but when we run the front end, you get a list of all the voices that are available. Now, here's the first message that you're going to see whenever we start the system. This is hard-coded, and based on the time of the day, the system is going to say good evening, good afternoon, or good morning. Next, we're going to look at the functions or tools that the agent has access to. Here we define a number of different functions. The idea would be that you're going to connect different API endpoints or MCPs for these functions, but I define a function that will get the calendar events. This can create meetings on the calendar, get the email list, then this one can compose emails, get to do, create to do, and so on and so forth. Now here is the actual function definition. For each of the function or tool, you have a description, name, and then what are the input outputs. The data is simulated. In this case, I created a mock data set with the help of Claude 4. And within this data set, you can see it does a lot of different things. The businesslogic.py file is basically the data generation part. It will create mock data or randomly sample data from the mock data that we have available. And then it's able to render some of that data on the UI side. When you run the same UI, you're going to see different calendar events based on the data that it picks up. Now, the UI that we see is implemented by the single HTML.index file. Now, on the client side, there are a number of different helpful helper functions. This is the main voice agent. Within that, we have the mechanism to set up the microphone, send and receive streaming data, and control the agent behavior. Now, let me show you how you can set this up on your local machine. There is a detailed README. First, you need to install port audio. This is important because without this, it's not going to work. I'm going to follow the MacBook instructions. We're going to install port audio. There are a number of different options for setting up a virtual environment in order to install everything. But essentially, there are requirements. In this requirement.txt file, you want to install all of these requirements. I'm going to use pip install requirements.txt. I have already installed everything along with setting up the virtual environment. Next, we need to set up our Deepgram API key. Either you can set up your Deepgram API key here in the terminal, or there's going to be a .env file. You can set up your Deepgram API key here. Now for that, go to your Deepgram account where you signed up. You are going to get access to $200 of credit. Then provide a name and then click on create API key. Once you set this up, all you need to do is run the client.py file. And if everything goes well, you're going to see a UI like this. Now in here, you can select the different voices that you want to interact with. Also, I think default input device will work, but if you have any other input devices or microphones connected to it, you will be able to see those, right? Now here are randomly picked events. Now these are not in specific order because I think the model still has access to a lot more. Let's start this.
Good evening. I'm Thalia, your personal assistant. I can help you manage your calendar.
Hey,
Check your
can you tell me how does my calendar looks like for today?
Let me check that for you. Today you have one event scheduled. This is a tentative meeting, taking place from 10:34 a.m. to 11:34 a.m. at the client site.
Actually, can you tell me what day is today?
Today is Tuesday, July 8th, 2025.
Okay, and can you also look at some of my pending tasks and tell me what are the highest priority tasks?
Let me check that for you. I'll check your pending tasks for you now.
And as I said before, you can interrupt the conversation if you want. I'll highly recommend to check out Deepgram's voice agent API, and do let me know what you think about it. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.